How could one of the most horrifying events of the 20th century, the Rwanda Genocide, occur in a country often referred to as the land of 1,000 hills? What could lead to such an atrocious act of violence? As we journey back to the early 90s, we see a nation seemingly at peace, a deceptive calm before a storm of unimaginable ferocity. The roots of this tragedy lie buried deep within the nation's history, in the long-standing tensions between the Hutus and Tutsis, two ethnic groups who for centuries shared the same language, culture and land, yet were divided by a bitter rivalry fueled by political and socio-economic disparities. The spark that ignited this tragic inferno was the assassination of the Hutu president. A sudden and brutal act that sent shockwaves through the nation, destabilizing an already tense environment and triggering a well-orchestrated campaign of slaughter against the Tutsis and moderate Hutus. A campaign so swift, so ruthless, that it left the world staggering in its wake. Yet as the rivers ran red with blood, the international community stood by, paralyzed. Despite the desperate cries for help echoing from the heart of Rwanda, the world failed to intervene effectively, a failure that is etched in the annals of history as a stark reminder of our collective responsibility in preventing such atrocities. In a matter of 100 days, approximately 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were ruthlessly slaughtered, marking one of the darkest periods in human history. A period when humanity was lost in the land of 1,000 hills, and the world stood by, watching in silence. The genocide was not an impromptu act of violence, but a well-orchestrated campaign of slaughter. How did this genocide unfold? In the heart of Africa, a nightmare was unveiled in 1994. Rwanda, a small, landlocked country, was thrown into chaos as ethnic tensions erupted into a horrific genocide. The genocide was no spontaneous outburst of violence, but a meticulously planned and executed campaign of slaughter, primarily targeting Tutsis and moderate Hutus. The Hutu extremists, driven by a deep-rooted hatred, unleashed a wave of terror that would claim the lives of approximately 800,000 people in just 100 days. That's an average of 8,000 lives, brutally extinguished each day, a rate of killing that was even greater than that of the Holocaust. This genocide was not just a product of ethnic hatred, but was fueled and facilitated by the media, particularly radio broadcasts. Radio stations, such as Radio Television Libre des Mille Collines, played a significant role in disseminating hate speech, dehumanizing the Tutsi population, and inciting Hutus to murder. These broadcasts became the soundtrack of the genocide, with chilling phrases like "cut down the tall trees" serving as coded calls to action. The international community, meanwhile, stood by as the horror unfolded. Despite clear evidence of the ongoing genocide, the world's powers failed to intervene effectively. The United Nations, hamstrung by bureaucratic indecision and a reluctance to label the violence as genocide, was unable to prevent the mass slaughter. The atrocities committed during the genocide were unspeakable. Men, women and children were mercilessly killed, often by their own neighbors. Churches, once seen as places of sanctuary, became sites of mass murder. The genocide was an organized frenzy of brutality that revealed the darkest side of humanity. The genocide, while lasting only 100 days, left a permanent scar on Rwanda's history and its people. In the wake of such a horrifying event, how does a nation rebuild? What steps did Rwanda take in the aftermath of the genocide? Following the genocide, Rwanda faced a daunting task of restoring order and rebuilding a nation torn apart by ethnic hatred. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, a rebel group largely composed of Tutsi refugees, took control of the government. Their rise to power marked the beginning of a new era, but it was not without controversy. A mass exodus of Hutus, fearing reprisal for the genocide, fled to neighboring countries. This created a refugee crisis, further complicating the region's stability. In response to the genocide, the international community established the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. This court was tasked with prosecuting those responsible for the atrocities. Many high-ranking Hutu officials were convicted, a major step towards justice. Yet, justice on an international scale could not heal the wounds at the grassroots level in Rwanda. Thus, the government implemented community courts, known as Gakaka. These courts aimed at promoting justice and reconciliation at the local level, allowing victims and perpetrators to face each other, fostering a sense of communal healing. Under the leadership of President Kagame, Rwanda has seen remarkable economic growth. The country has made strides in healthcare, education, and women's empowerment. It's often hailed as a success story of post-conflict recovery. But this progress has not been without criticism. Allegations of human rights abuses persist, and the government's intolerance of dissent raises concerns about political freedoms. While the narrative of unity and reconciliation is strong, discussing ethnicity remains a sensitive issue. The Rwanda Genocide serves as a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for violence, but also of its ability to rebuild and seek justice. It remains a crucial part of global history, a testament to the dangers of hate and the power of resilience.